Hello and welcome to Digital Transformation and AI for Humans with your host, Amy. In this podcast, we'll delve into how technology intersects with leadership, innovation, and most importantly, the human spirit. Each episode features visionary leaders who understand that at the heart of success is the human touch, nurturing a winning mindset, fostering emotional intelligence, and building resilient teams. Today, we will talk about leading the future of fintech and insurance, driving strategic transformation and business growth with AI. I'm happy to welcome Philippe Séjalon, CEO at INGAGE, leading the transformation of insurance with artificial intelligence. Award-winning innovator, journalist, founder, author, lecturer, European Union senior policy advisor, and hyperpolyglot. Engage Institute leverages AI to gamify marketing and training solutions tailored for the risk and insurance sector. Welcome, Philippe. So great to have you here. How are you?
Hey, Amy, thank you for having me on your show. It's a great pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to a great discussion together.
So am I. It's going to be awesome. Let's start with telling a few words about your path, your life, your passion, and your achievements. Anything you want to share with us?
Wow, okay. There's a lot, but I'll summarize it for you. I worked for big companies like the Swiss reinsurance company, consulting for Ernst& Young for many years around the world. Should it be in Zurich, in New York, in Hong Kong, and many other places, in Copenhagen, of course, so many places. I'm originally from France, Strasbourg, and my passion is actually learning, in my case, learning languages. So I speak very badly many languages. That's how I usually show it. And yeah, that's my passion, learning languages and dancing bachata.
Amazing. Sounds like an amazing way to go. To kick things off, could you describe the current integration of AI in the fintech and insurance sectors? What fundamental changes is AI bringing to these industries?
Well, first, I mean, you probably know that as the insurance industry, what I love about it, it's about risk, everything. People think normally, oh, the insurance industry, that's such a boring industry. It isn't. It looks like it may be at the beginning, but when you look at what it actually does, what does actually an insurance company do? Yeah, well, what does it do? It protects you. It looks at risk. So there is nothing more exciting for me in life than the risk. Risk is it's our lives. Everything you do in your daily lives is about risk. You're an entrepreneur, you have a risk. You build a company, you have a huge risk. You cross the street, you have a risk. You go skydiving, you want to use your computer and you have cyber threats. So everything we do is risks. And when you look at the films in Hollywood or all these blockbusters, it's always about something extreme. It's risk. So that's how I look at this industry. It sounds, while it's incredible, because while it sounds so boring for most people, it actually does one of the most exciting things in the world.
I never thought about it like that, honestly. And it is amazing. Living on the edge, that sounds like something very exciting for real.
Think about this, actually. Even if they take this very quiet tone and they present an insurance policy to you, what's behind this is actually quite exciting.
Exactly. Maybe they should think about it like that as well more often.
And that's exactly one of the things we try to support them with. Is actually we, as you mentioned in introduction, we basically do digital marketing and training, raising awareness for risk for insurance products. Because I don't understand why the industry is not much more sexy than it is. All the people we've interviewed say, "Oh, I ended up in the insurance industry because, well, by random. And then I found out it was interesting." But it's very rare that someone tells you, "I came in this industry because I really wanted it. I have some friends who work in fashion. I love fashion," they said. "But I ended up in insurance but I didn't know why actually. And that's for most people the case. And from the receptionist, all the way to the CEO and board members, we often get these kind of answers.
Fantastic. And it's so good that you are spreading your passion and your vision in this sector. But what does it take to lead a successful AI-driven transformation in traditionally complex fields like fintech and insurance?
Well, what does it take? Well, first, it takes a lot of curiosity. You need to be curious. You need to be open-minded. You need to want to try. You need to be ready to fail. And that's actually one of the major issues when you look at the insurance industry. Risk is their business. Risk is our business. But at the same time, it's mostly avoiding risk. And that's where it gets very interesting. Because if you avoid risk, nowadays, you cannot spend the next 5 years analyzing something and then going for an implementation later. You need to go straight ahead into the challenge. And that's actually what makes it interesting and difficult for the industry, according to me.
I agree. And that's exactly something that makes it so attractive and so interesting to work with as well.
Totally, yeah.
Could you share some specific use cases from your experience where artificial intelligence has been strategically implemented to drive transformation and growth?
Well, maybe I will, for you viewers and auditors, I would just, the value chain of insurance is that, just to oversimplify the value chain, basically. Okay, so you prepare some products to sell the insurance policies. You do the marketing, and then you will underwrite. You will assess the risk for the people who want to get these policies. So that is the underwriting part, where you analyze the risk and issue an insurance policy. And later down the value chain, you have the claims. Oops, there's a problem that happens, and then you want to get basically protected or compensated for that. So the claims aspect. So the two major parts of the value chain are really the underwriting, assessing the risk, issuing the policies, making the money, and the claims, paying out the money. And in these two elements, two parts, you have substantial possibilities with AI to improve them. Underwriting with a lot of data, it can be very complex. AI can help. AI can help you clean your data. AI can help anonymize data in some cases. For the claims, it can make it much faster to handle this. You know, when you wait for your claim for weeks and months, and people say, "Wow, the insurance company doesn't want to pay." That's where AI can help. Client management, client support side. When you have a question, you want to talk with your insurance company, and you don't want to wait on the phone pressing buttons to answer to the answering machine. So that's also this with chatbots.
That is actually amazing because usually when people comes in touch with those services, it is because they are going through something challenging. And exactly at that point, they are already stressed enough, and it is wonderful that there are ways to make their life a little bit easier, at least from this perspective with AI solutions.
Amy, and what you said is really important, because that's exactly the thing. The insurance is basically a promise. You don't buy a product, you don't buy a computer. You buy a promise that you will get help when you need it. And then the truth comes when the claims are happening. So that's at that time you think, oh, my insurance company really helped me. Or if they were slow, they had a lot of things to do, or you did not understand the insurance policy correctly, then they think, they're trying not to pay out. So that's a challenge the industry has, is really making sure that when it comes to the real moment, the important moment, the claim, they have to handle this. They have to handle it swiftly and really support the persons. And that's a challenge.
So true. I totally agree with you. What are the major challenges in adopting AI within this sector, financial and insurance sector, and how can they be addressed effectively?
I think the main challenge for me is that it's a risk aversion in many cases. It's very complex industry. There's a lot of data. It has to be also quite confidential in some cases. So there is this aspect. So you cannot move too fast because you need to make sure that what you do is well done. And if you do a mistake, you will pay that for quite many years to come. So there is a certain level, a high level of reluctance to the risk, actually.
I can understand that. And that is how it is. And it's great that you are working around it as well. Given your experience as a senior policy advisor in the European Union, how do you view the regulatory landscape evolving to accommodate advancements in AI and everything you can do through AI to enable customers and create a better experience?
Well, there are several regulations. You know, the GDPR to protect the data. Then you might know NIS 2, the Network and Information Security from the EU directive, and the Cyber Resilience Act. So basically, what they do is NIS 2 is there to enhance cybersecurity. So it says, okay, you have to have proper risk management in place. It mandates that you have to report any incidents. The Cyber Resilience Act, it targets manufacturers of digital goods to make sure that their products are safe. So all these directives, laws, are meant to provide an ecosystem which is much safer than it is right now. At the same time, the challenge is that as an entrepreneur too, you don't want to be constrained more. So you have to go fast. You want to move fast as an entrepreneur. You want to bring new products. You don't understand everything necessarily about LLMs. What are the risks? But you need to try. And if you don't try out, you will not get the lessons out of it. So you have to find a good balance between being able to try things, maybe with a legal sandbox for startups, and protecting the users. And that's the balance you need to strike, which is very difficult exercise.
I agree. It is not easy, but overall, the landscape is getting increasingly more complex, and it is also something interesting to accept those challenges and work on them to find those amazing solutions. The pace of technological development is speeding up, making it increasingly difficult to stay updated and effectively drive change. Board members and senior executives need to upgrade their knowledge and skill set to leverage AI in their decision making processes in this fast evolving landscape. I know you are working with AI training programs. Can you tell us more about the biggest challenges and game changing opportunities in this area?
Yeah, well, one of the biggest challenges, we have this AI course or training for board members, actually, especially in insurance companies. And what the board member has to do very often, they have to, among all the things they have to do, they have to read literally thousands of pages of documents, thousands of pages, understand them, and they are actually legally liable of the results for the company. So they have a really strong interest in doing the right thing. So if you have to read these thousands of documents, what do you do as a board member? You need to understand what is this insurance policy. Is there, are there any weaknesses in there? So it's very tempting. You take your insurance policy, send it to ChatGPT and ask, hey, write me a summary of it. Tell me what are the major issues. But the problem is it's not reliable. And the other problem is you might send confidential data to external parties, which happen in some other companies where developers sent all the code to ChatGPT asking for improvements. So we need to make people aware of all these challenges. And board members are very capable, very smart people, but they have a lot on their plates. Some of them have been printing emails again, so you have to, even if you have a strong knowledge of the industry, you need to stay updated on what's happening with AI and with technology, and that's a big challenge. And I think at the moment, very few people can claim that they are on top of what AI can do. I would not claim that. There's so much happening all the time. A human brain is not able to cope with with the level of change we see these days. So back to your question, how do you stay updated? Well, of course, you go to webinars, you go to some training, short training on the topic, and you have to test the systems. That's time consuming. But if you have people who can do this for you, and that's what we do for our clients. We test the different systems. We tell them, look, these are the major trends. This is what you could try. Here are use cases for your insurance company. That's one way of doing it. Yeah.
Amazing. Not easy, but you're helping so much in different ways as well.
Yeah. And one little story maybe I could give you. Some months ago, I was on a business trip in Athens, and Athens has a huge community of call centers, people who work in call centers, like in Portugal. And one evening I was going to a meetup, and I met one of the guys who was working in a call center. So I said, hey, what do you do? Well, I do work in a call center for this big company. I said, how long have you been working there? Oh, 10 years, and I love my job. Normally. Why normally? Why not now? Oh, I hate it now. Why do you hate it? I hate it because now they implemented AI. So what's the problem with that? I said, well, they implemented AI. They gave us a 2-hour training. And they said, from now on, AI is going to decide. You're supposed to be in the support function for clients, right? So AI will tell you what kind of decision you make, and you have to repeat it to the client. That's how that company, which is a big company, implemented AI in the first place. That's how you don't want to implement AI. That's absolutely clear. It's obvious. But they should have used these people's knowledge and experience and use AI as a support tool. Especially now, AI is not able to do this, to decide by itself that well. Instead, they did AI decides and you implement the solution. Results of this, he told me they had to pay back a lot of money to clients because AI made the wrong decisions. Now, I think this is not exactly official, but yeah, so that's the thing you don't want to do. And you don't want to spend just 2 hours with your team saying, well, here's the tool, go and use it. I mean, that's the basics. That's not how you do it. That's not how you bring people in the AI journey.
No. And I'm so grateful that you shared this example, because this is exactly what we should avoid. This is exactly what we should talk about. And that's a perfect reference of how not to do, because it happens. It's not a unique case. I'm sure that many companies are running it this way because it is, from the first look, it is like a no-brainer. You implement it that way, and then everything becomes smarter and wiser, right?
Yeah,
But
right.
not at all, not really, because that's exactly the danger, that humans shouldn't be subservient to the decisions taken by AI, and we need some kind of governance over all those decisions and all the processes, because otherwise we are going to lose control. And the day we lose control, that will be not the best day in the history of humanity, for sure. Philippe, from your extensive career in financial services and policy regulations, what are your predictions for the future impact of AI on global financial markets and regulations? Where do you see the role of AI headed in the next 3 to 5 years? Maybe it's too far away in time, but still, maybe you want to take a look at 5 to 10 or 1 to 3 years if it's easier. How?
Come on, Amy. This is such a tricky question. I mean, I don't have the crystal ball here, but okay, I'll give it a try. But the first thing I would like to remind you, you're probably too young for it, but I remember when the internet came in our lives. At that time, very, very few people could claim even now they could foresee what would happen. The Google, the Facebook. I remember that time you would say, "Oh, could you buy things online? It was really cool to buy some things online." Clothes, of course not. Food, no way. So the world has completely changed, and nearly nobody could have predicted the world we live in now. New business models came, and the influencers, all these platforms. So it's a complete different world that was based on the internet. And I would expect the magnitude of change with AI to be at least as big or bigger, actually. You have two things. You have the famous AGI, artificial general intelligence, where basically what it can do is everything that a human does. And Sam Altman from OpenAI said that he expects it to be, I think, around the next 5 years around. So he would be able to do everything a human does. But then you have the next level, the artificial superintelligence. Now that's where AI is way beyond our capabilities. So if you look at the change that came, that changed the internet changed the world. It globalized it nearly overnight. It globalized the whole world. And when you compare this with the AI that is coming and developing and the speed at which it's developing, it's going to be tremendous. So the changes there will be absolutely of a magnitude we've never seen.
I agree. And it takes me to another question connected to this one. When we're talking about super intelligence, what do you think about the potential singularity?
Oh wow! Now we're going into science fiction and hot topics. Look, I've always thought, even when I was a little kid, that at some point this would happen in our history. So that's worth as much as it is. But I've always been convinced that we would go there. I didn't know it would probably be, I guess, in my lifetime. This I would not know. But we're getting there. We're getting there. The question is, are we replicating the negative sides of our human species? Will AI adapt the same negative traits that we have? And that would be the major concern for me. Or will it be much more intelligent than us and not do so? That's going to be exciting, very exciting.
It's going to be exciting for sure. And I think that type of science fiction is closer actually than we can imagine
Yes.
and more realistic. But what do you think the dangers really are? Because it might go into different directions. It might enhance our life and create a better world, or if based on our biases and data which is filled with our human imperfections, it
Mm-hmm.
might even make them stronger and move into the wrong direction. And potentially, probably we won't even notice it overnight. It will come gradually, and then nobody will notice until it's too late. Which side do you think it's going to move towards or lean towards?
Well, okay, now, uh, uh, look, you know the story of who said that if one day there is an artificial superintelligence and you asked it to remove the problem of climate change or war and everything, and then it might decide, well, the best way to remove that problem is to remove humans. So
Exactly.
that's that. Look, uh, well. We have to make sure, and that's why, how do we implement ethics into AI? And on that one, I'll be very honest with you, I have no answer. That's way beyond my pay grade.
However, it's amazing to have this conversation and
Yes.
see different perspectives because basically we're all speculating. We can't know for sure. We are so close to the technologies, but we cannot know for sure how it is going to develop.
And I think
And
that's a real problem. That's the problem, because we go very, very fast. And sometimes it feels like we see a beautiful cliff. And it's like someone is at the top of the Empire State Building and he jumps. And then there is this camera looking at him and he jumps, and they ask him, hey, how is it going? Well, so far, so good. So far, so good. And is it like this? Is it what we're doing? I don't know. But in any case, it's exciting, and I like to be a bit optimistic. Our species always found solutions when we all get together, when we manage to go beyond our differences, and we get things done. We find solutions in any topics. So I like to be optimistic here. We will get it. Yeah, we will.
Me too. I prefer being optimistic, and that's one of the ways I found to put people together and generate new ideas and share experiences and wisdom through this podcast as well. So it's great that you can share your vision and your experience.
Thanks.
What do you think the companies should be preparing for now to stay on top of their game? And from the leadership perspective, what should leaders do?
Okay. I think you need to be extremely open-minded, more than ever before. You need to be utterly curious. So you have to, all the things you think, that's how it is. It's always been like that. This is not an option nowadays. You need to be thinking outside the box more than ever. You need to listen to everybody in your organization, because sometimes, and I've been countless times, I've been amazed by, ask the receptionist, ask maybe the person delivering the post or whatever it is. They might have ideas on that you might be surprised about. So be curious, be open, engaging people within your organization on all levels. I know it's difficult, but it's needed. And especially if you're risk averse, you need to be courageous. Like, oh, I'm going to wait for my competitors to do it, then I'll do it too. By the time they've done it, you're out of the market. So you have to take, especially when you're at the C-level, the top management, you have to take risks.
I love that you highlight this perspective because it is crucial. And still, there are opinions that maybe it's nothing, maybe it will go over like any other hype. So, why to rush? Why to invest into something risky? Maybe it's better to just wait and see. And it's not going to work. Not this time. No. It is the
Okay.
straight way to help a business actually. So better not to take that risk and update yourself, educate yourself exactly as you mentioned. So I
And there is a
totally
good
agree.
news. I mean, there is a good news. Is that you don't have, the waterfall projects where you design a project for 2 years, 3 years, and then you implement your ERP system, whatever. That's gone. But MVP, lean, learn from you learn from startups. Every big company has done that now. They're looking at it, but they don't live it. They don't experience it. They don't, it's not in their DNA. So you need to have more of a startup mindset, if I may. Maybe it's because I come from there, but like try. You don't need months and months of work. You can just do an MVP, a minimum viable product. Try it, learn it, expose people in your organizations to it, and iterate. And you make sure that it's okay to fail. And we all know that from management courses. But nowadays, you need to have your organizations live it. You can try and fail fast, fail at scale.
I agree totally. And actually, when I'm thinking about it and about the time frame, I saw that you had an interview on the topic of quantum computers and the future coming in that area connected to AI. What do you think? How will that part speed up everything even more, and how will it change things?
Oh, quantum computing. Wow. Yeah. Uh, It could be a huge game changer. That means in a first step, it could be someone said it would be the end of privacy, where these quantum computers are super fast computers, so they could crack in seconds what our present computers would need tens or hundreds of years to crack. But as we've seen countless times, as soon as you have something like this, even if they manage to crack privacy, which would change the whole financial systems potentially. But you have big banks. HSBC, I think, in London was doing it. So you have some ways to you find some ways to reestablish that privacy. You have some ways to encrypt in a different way or do different. You have different solutions to do it. So while it will be a big change, especially for banks, for insurance companies, and they are preparing for it, from what I've seen. So yeah, it will be a big change for them, but it's doable.
It is definitely doable, and it is coming soon as well.
Yes.
I agree. Philippe, to wrap up this amazing conversation, I could keep going and asking you all those exciting questions for
Right.
days because that's so interesting and there is so much to discuss and dive deeper
Yes.
into. But to get the last piece of wisdom from Switzerland, what is one piece of advice you would give to leaders working with AI to ensure they get the maximum value out of it and drive meaningful business transformation?
Okay. Go for it. Try MVPs. It doesn't have to be expensive, but you need to try and bring on board your team for this. The 2-hour training of the guys and say, well, they're just doing support. It's going to be okay. No, you have to create passion in your organization for that topic and get maybe your perfect solution is somewhere down in your organization where you don't think it is. So go for it. Enable your team to thrive and on that topic. Train them, educate them, support them. It's not AI versus humans, but it's humans supported by AI.
I love this. This is the best possible message we could share with our listeners and viewers today. For real. So much
Cool.
wisdom. Thank you so much.
Not sure. Well, okay. I'll take it.
Thank you for being here with us, Philippe. It's amazing.
Thanks for having me, Amy. It was a great pleasure.
Thank you for joining us on Digital Transformation and AI for Humans. I am Amy, and it was enriching to share this time with you. Remember, the core of any transformation lies in our human nature, how we think, feel, and connect with others. It is about enhancing our emotional intelligence, embracing a winning mindset, and leading with empathy and insight. Subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes where we uncover the latest trends in digital business and explore the human side of technology and leadership. Until next time, keep nurturing your mind, fostering your connections, and leading with heart.